This is about choosing the person who is going to represent you in what could be the most expensive transaction of your life. You don't want to get it wrong. Hello and welcome to Practical Personal Finance. My name is Andrew Shear, and this is where I give you the information you need to understand and succeed with money. If you're interested in purchasing a home, especially your first, it's in your best interest to have a real estate agent represent you for the transaction. But there are a ton of real estate agents out there. How can you make sure you pick the right one? Don't worry. In the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you how to make an excellent selection. But before I do that, do me a favor and give this video a thumbs up. And if you're new around here, hit that subscribe button too. You're about to learn something new about money. Finding a great real estate agent is key to making sure the process of buying a home goes smoothly. So when should you begin your search? There are 4 questions you should ask yourself to determine if you're ready. Number 1, do I have enough of a down payment for a home saved up? If your down payment is less than 20% of the purchase price, you can expect to pay monthly for PMI or private mortgage insurance. Number 2, is my credit score in good shape? The better your credit score, the lower the interest rate you will be able to secure for your mortgage. Number 3, have I minimized my monthly recurring debt payments? Lenders will look at your income and your monthly payments to determine how much you can afford. And number 4, am I ready to settle down in one place for at least 4 or 5 years? If you're planning to move again in the next year or 2, then you're probably better off renting. If you answered yes to each of those 4 questions, you're in a great position to purchase a home. So what's next? To answer that, I caught up with my good friend Mike Sanson, a real estate agent with One Sotheby's International Realty in Miami, Florida.
The first thing you want to do before you start looking for a realtor is speak with a lender actually, and go through the pre-approval process. This will give you the green light to know how much you could afford and what to look for when you're going out looking for a house.
In addition to speaking with a lender, it's important to understand how much you can comfortably afford. Lenders want you to borrow as much money as possible, as long as they believe you'll pay them back. This could end up being more than you want to be spending on housing each month. Ideally, you want to spend less than 30% of your income after taxes on housing. Once you've been pre-approved by your lender, Mike told me that most people are referred to a realtor by someone they know, someone who has worked with that realtor before. I asked Mike what questions he would ask a realtor once you've got one in mind.
Well, they should really be asking you a lot of questions. That's one thing to look out for. But questions to ask in an interview are how many transactions they've done this year, what type of homes, what market that they focus on, and if they're really familiar with the area that you're looking at and who they've helped before. You could ask for their sales, and any realtor would be happy to print it out and show it to you so it's transparent. You could also ask for reviews and referrals.
2 qualities you want to be looking for in a real estate agent are someone who you can get along with really well and someone you can trust. You're going to be spending a lot of time together, so you don't want to work with someone whose personality you just can't stand. And with the amount of money you're putting into a home purchase, you absolutely need to know that your realtor is acting with your best interests in mind. You might consider a relative or a close family friend who does real estate part-time. After all, there are a few people you can trust more than family. But is someone like that a good choice?
Being full-time is a must. You need somebody that dedicates all day to this and is available at any time of day, because the transaction doesn't wait for 5 o'clock to start. If you're starting at 5, you're already way behind. So that's something I feel is very important when looking for a realtor. It can't be their side hustle, it should be their full-time job.
The barrier to entry in the field of real estate is lower than in some other professions, so it's not uncommon for people to jump in when they're seeking a career change. Maybe you know someone like this, someone new to the job and eager to go above and beyond. Should you work with someone like this, considering their lack of experience?
It is okay to work with a new realtor. I'd say if they have a mentor in place that's a little more experienced, because then you kind of get the energy of a new realtor and the experience of a veteran realtor. So for example, when I started, I had a mentor that I worked with on my first few deals before I was comfortable enough going on my own.
If you know me, you know I like to do things myself whenever I can to try and save a few bucks. And if I gotta pay for something, I like to have a good idea of what it's gonna cost me beforehand. When it comes to big transactions like the purchase of a home, I can tell that it's probably a good idea to work with a trained professional. So one of the questions on my mind about real estate was, how much will a real estate agent cost me as a buyer?
So basically, the way it's paid is a percentage of the sale. The seller has already agreed to, and the standard is 6%. It's 3% for their side and 3% for the buyer's side. So that 6% has already been negotiated beforehand and advertised in the listing.
I was surprised to learn that representation in a real estate transaction is free for the buyer. Both commissions for the buyer's agent and for the seller's agent are paid by the seller. With that knowledge, it's hard to argue against hiring a realtor to represent you.
There's a lot of moving parts in a real estate transaction. There's a lot of variables, and there's a lot of things that if you don't do correctly could cost you a large sum of money down the road. You might not discover it now, but you'll discover it later. For example, if you don't inspect the right things and later you find out that you have an issue, that could have been prevented maybe by the recommendation of a realtor that knows what they're doing.
Now that you understand what to look for in a real estate agent and what it's like to work with one, it's time to get out there and make the dream of homeownership a reality. I want to thank my good friend Mike Sanson for answering my questions about choosing the right real estate agent. If you're interested in hearing our entire conversation, check out the Practical Personal Finance podcast and look for episode number 5. It's available right now on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And if you want to keep up with Mike, head on over to mikesanson.com. I'll leave a link in the description. Have you ever worked with a real estate agent before as a buyer? What was it like? Let me know in the comments. If you're looking at buying a home soon, I made another video about how to give your credit score a quick boost. Check it out by clicking right here. And if you're not already a PPF subscriber, then click right here. Thanks for watching. I'm Andrew Scheer, and I'll see you next time.